Now, for number B, if he walks to school for 4 consecutive successive days, determine the probability that he will be late every day. So let us now look at this question, this probability tree. So let's now look at this probability tree here. Now, and then want to see the probability that will be late every day. Now, for us now to be able to answer that question, we want to look the probability of him being late in one day after walking. Remember now here we are considering walking. It was a coin and then he walk and then be late. So we look at probability of being late in one day. So you can toss a coin and find ahead, and then walk and then be late, or can get a tail and then walk and then being late. So that probability for being late in one day after walking, it will be head, walking and being late, or tail, walking and being late. So this one would be 1 over 2 times 1 over 2 times 1 over 4 plus 1 over 2 times 1 over 2 times 1 over 4. So this one is 1 over 16 times 1, plus, supposed to be plus, so plus 1 over 16. So this one is 2 over 16, which is 1 over 8. So now this is the probability of being late in one day. Now remember, now here is now working in 4 successive days. So meaning that probability of being late in the first day and probability of being late in the second day and probability of being late in the third day and the fourth day. So that will be probability. Now here now you're going to use and not or. So it will be probability being late on the first day and probability being late on the second day, probability being late on the third day, and probability being late on the fourth day. So this is the same as 1 over 8 times 1 over 8 times 1 over 8 times 1 over 8. Or you can simply say 1 over 8 power 4. So that we're going to get 1 over, so the answer is 1 over 4096. 4096. So that is the answer for that question. Now, now for the last part, on any 3 days. So now this meaning that maybe the first day will be late, the second day late, third day late, and then on the fourth day not be late. And we're considering walking. And maybe the first day will not be late, second day will be late, fourth day, third day and fourth day will also be late. So for that question, let me open another page. So for that question, we have now to consider probability. We have now to consider for one day probability of him being late after walking. Now remember that is the probability of being late. Now let's start with being late in one day, probability of him being late. So I think you have already done it on this part, and it is here 1 over 8. So now let's now look, because now that will be getting head, walking and being late, or getting tail, walking and being late. So that one we're getting at as 1 over 8. Now, probability of him not being late in one day. So this one is 8. So not being late, probability of getting a tail, walking and not being late, or getting a tail, walking and not being late. Probability of him not being late in one day. So this one would be 1 over 2 times 1 over 2 times 3 over 4. Remember, probability of him not being late is 3 over 4 plus 1 over 2 times 1 over 2 times 3 over 4. So now this one, it will be 3 over 16. Yes, I think 3 over 16. It will be 3 over 16 plus 3 over 16. So this one will be 3 over 8. So probability of him not being late in one day, and the above is probability of him being late in one day. So now we want to find the probability of him. Let me get that question again. If he walks to school for 4 successive days, determine the probability that he will be late on any 3 days. He'll be late on any 3 days. So one day will not be late, but all the other 3 will be late. So on that one, meaning that will be probability of him not being late on the first day and then being late on the 3 days, or probability of him being late on the first day, not be late on the second day, be late on the third day and fourth day, or probability him being late on the first day, being late on the second day, not being late on the third day and then being late on the fourth day, or probability being late on the first day, being late on the second day, being late on the third day, and not being late on the fourth day. So you can simply find this probability and then you multiply by 4. So it will be 4 into bracket 1 over 8 times 1 over 8 times 1 over 8 times 3 over 8. Because remember, these probability are all the same. So the answer that we're going to get here is the same as this one, the same as this one. So that's the reason why I'm just multiplying by 4. So if you do that, you're going to get 1 over 8 times 1 over 8 times 1 over 8 times 3 over 8, and then times 4. So you're going to get your answer as 3 over 1024. So now that one is the answer for that question. That's how you earn your 10 marks.